Very, very slow grind in the market here. Moving up, but it's really a struggle. Q's got the standard deviation line coming up there a little bit higher, but just very slow move in the market. Very, very slow. Pretty flat. Tesla had a nice move up, still moving. 457.51 is the resistance level. That's for Tesla now. That was a good little move there, but you got to kind of catch them right off of the 8s, the 15, or the VWAP. You got to catch them off at some support level. Q's creeping up, putting in new highs, but not very fast. We get the 8 on here now. We didn't used to have this. I like the 8. Again, the 8 and 15 work together. Usually, if the 8 breaks, if it breaks below the 8, usually the 15 will hold. Not always, but usually the 15 will hold. You can see how it did it here, and here. And it's a good level to take a trade off of as well. You can take a trade off the 8 just like you can off the 15 and the VWAP. So Ryan, what happened to UMAY? News happened. It really wasn't news. It's a discussion that China and the United States might have a basis of a trade deal, but they haven't. There's nothing. This is all just speculation. But of course, it sent the rare earth, the U.S. rare earth stocks down a lot. MP, UAMY, they all went down based on the fact that China may be starting to ship the rare earth elements again, because they said they were not gonna ship anymore, so that the U.S. Rare earth elements went up. But on that kind of news, it drives it down. And there's nothing you can do about something like that, and it can reverse just as quickly if they say, okay, that China says we're gonna hold off on these shipping these rare earth elements again. Goes right back up again. Not much you can do about that, so we get trapped in it. Joe scalped 5 points off of the Qs. Don't trust it. I don't trust anything right now. Shai thinks it's much more likely to stay in the range than break out. Probably. I mean, it's just a slow, just a creep up right now, but not much of a break. The market may just stay right in this area all day long. IWM, the 8 trying to cross over the 15. Good SPY trade. Thoughts? Yeah, the IWM 8, but you're not going to trade this, not with the VWAP right there. You're not going to trade it. I wouldn't think you'd want to trade it long. It's the weakest of the indexes. But again, what Shai points out is we're likely to stay in this range. I mean, we could break. We could break up, we could break down, but it's likely we're going to stick around in this range. Probably not an awful lot of movement. If it crosses over, yeah, but again, if it crosses, you got to take into consideration, all the rest of the resistance here, the VWAP here, the fact that it is coming off a pivot point, but this is likely to be resistance on it right here. And if you're trading the SPY is not like the IWM right now. SPY moved up, but it's just not doing anything. It's just right in this range here. Triple Q's also doing the same thing, right on the 8 right now. This is low probability trading environment. You don't really want to be jumping into a lot of trades here. If you can find some stocks that are outperforming, that's good. This Tesla moving up right up to the resistance now, 457.51. Hood's just moving sideways. Very tough market. GLW through the VWAP. Would you consider a day trade long in GLW? Yeah, for a day trade, it's a little extended on the daily chart, but yeah, I mean, I'd consider it. But you know, it's in a kind of a range just like everything else. Gap up here, see the nice gap, but it's just trading right in this range. Coin follow through from Friday. Thank you, Roger. Yeah, cryptos are very volatile. Coin moved up Friday, quite a nice big candle Friday. Again, it kind of got us trapped in that debit spread we had. We were able to get out for a loss, but it wasn't a big loss. But if we had stayed in it, we probably would have made money on it. But it's gapping up right now. But you got resistance at 368.26. Again, all these gaps are very difficult to chase. I mean, you're chasing a pretty good sized gap up here with resistance right there at 368. And market not doing much here. It's gap up and just a drift. It is bullish. I mean, the market's bullish for sure. But swing trades are really hard because of the fact that we've gapped up so much in the last 2 days on the SPY. And the Qs too, for that matter. GLW only one EMR, one extended. Yeah, but that's true. But and it's a good setup on GLW, and I still like it. But you know, it's got earnings tomorrow, Remkamar. So you know, if you're trading it, if you're going to trade options, you're going to pay a lot for them, and you got to get out. You know, you got to get out by tomorrow. Probably has earnings. I'm not sure if it's before the open or after the open tomorrow, but it's got earnings tomorrow. So you know, that's a reason probably not to trade it, because you don't have any ability to stay in it. Q's creeping up. Again, Tesla 457.51. Might break through there, but again, this 457.51 is a fairly sticky level. I mean, it looks like a nice breakout on it here, but again, if you get through there, then you get room to 470. Right now, I'd be hesitant to take it unless it can prove itself. Good place to be taking profits, in my opinion, on Tesla. Hey, good morning, YouTube folks. Morning, Heaven. Good morning, Amendment. Good morning. Welcome to Monday. Big gap up in the market and a pretty flat move. The Qs are starting to move up a little bit more now. They've been the strongest this morning. SPY looking good. IWM was the weakest. It's pulled back and it's just trying to get up to the VWAP, but not something I would want to trade. All I did today so far was took Tesla this morning long. I made $100 a contract out of that. I took a break even in Hood, and I took some HPE calls based on some news. Just to try to see if it'll bounce up with the news. They're going to be mentioned by the Department of Energy this afternoon, along with AMD, on some deals they made with the Department of Energy. So you can see AMD popped right up. HPE did too. So I just took some cheap calls in HPE, $24 calls. That's about it that I've done today, not much. I think I did take some calls on quick Qs real quick, but I was in and out in one candle. I can't really call these things out. Qs, this is a nice setup. Again, there's a new all-time high in the Qs. We have no resistance above, but you've got to get in right at one of the levels. VWAP, 15, or the 8. All of these are good levels to get in. Notice it's following the 8 pretty closely today. But you don't want to chase it. You want to wait for it to bounce off of it. Like that was a good entry right there. If you took it as to get into that candle, this was a good entry here. Same thing on the SPY, which I wouldn't be touching right now. It's a little too far. And Tesla is notice that went right to almost exactly to the 457.51 level. 450, 30 cents away. How do I find SSS candidates? Sarang, back in 10-point stop and NQ. Okay, Joe, thanks. I did take a quick trade in the Qs, but I'm out of that already. How do I find SPY super system candidates, Sarang? Well, I mean, you've got to be looking, but you basically just have to be looking for individual stocks. I mean, I looked at Tesla this morning; it looked pretty good, so I wait for a pullback on it and then take it. I have some scans in TC2000 that look for some conditions like a break above the one of the moving averages, coming down through and then moving back up through the 8 or the 15, or if the 8 exponential moving average is crossing up through the 15. A few of those, but right now on a day like this, it's really tough because it just is. I mean, things just aren't lasting very long. If you chase them, you can get trapped. When the SPY super system candidates are on, you can just look for, if you're just trading the indexes, you can just watch those. But I mean, you're going to get a lot of stocks that bounce off the 15, but they're not good candidates. They have bad daily chart, or they're chopping around too much. So it takes a while to find these things. And some days you're not going to find much of anything. QURE, testing resistance, REM command, QURE. Yep, sure is. 64.59. This resistance level in QURE, and we traded this, I think last week or something, a couple weeks ago. This 64.59 is this level right here. See the number of times it's hit that level? That 64.59 is very, very sticky level. Tough for it to get through there. It hasn't been able to get through it and stay through it. Move right up to it here now. But it's hard to chase it. If you're making an anticipation trade when you get in there now that this is going to stay above that 64.59 and not pull back, even though it has pulled back for the last 3 times it's done it. So it's an anticipation trade. If it works, you make up well. If not, you got to get out as soon as it closes below 64.59 on a 5-minute candle. Sometimes wrong, sometimes you see candidates, but they just don't move option prices enough. Yeah, because the underlying moves so slowly. Of course, you've always got those. That's why it's when you're trying to find these trades. That's like Tesla. Well, I did Tesla this morning. Tesla was good because the options move. I mean, those things can move, a buck in no time. But yeah, some of the stocks that don't move an awful lot, it's probably not worth it because, I mean, if you're only on a 5-minute chart and you're just looking for a quick intraday trade and the stock's moving, 4, 5, 6 cents, it's just not worth it. Better off just trading the stock in those cases. Again, very, very choppy action here. By pulling back a little bit here. Right below the 8, coming up on the 15. Caesar, what would be the best way to follow the signals generated by SPY, super system, buy stocks, small trades, or buy options contracts? Um, I think, on a day like today, for example, the kind of day that the market's having determines how long you're going to stay in trade, and also how big a size you're going to take. A day like this, you're going to be very, very small, and the trades are going to be very quick. What I do when I'm trading like the SPY, if I'm taking the SPY super system, if I'm trading the SPYs, the Qs, like I traded the Qs briefly, just for a short period of time here, as it bounced off the 8, but I was in and out in just a couple of candles. I just take options. I take in the money options, just one strike in the money, expiring today. After about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I take in the money options expiring tomorrow, so I don't get too much time decay on them. But that's how I trade them. I just, but you can buy stock, small trades. I don't trade the SPY. I don't trade the SPY as a stock. I just trade the options on it. So that's what I would do. I mean, that's where you're gonna get a lot more leverage like that. I mean, if you go out and buy the SPY, or let's say buy the Qs, you pay $626 a share, right? How many shares can you get? But if I buy the 625 calls and the stock it moves up by $1, I make about $80 a contract or something. And if it does for you, you're making $1 for a $626 investment is pretty small. So I don't trade stocks like the SPY or the Qs. I just trade the options on them. How's it going, Ruby?
Good.
I'm gonna take one of those Sentinel.
Oh, yeah.
This is through my ear and all the way down my head.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
is
yeah.
it? Just pressure from the
I think
sinuses?
it has to be. There's blood all through
I
the
know, and
ear.
I can feel it in my nose.
Yeah, it does. Because I have it mild. It's milder today. Yesterday it was like, wow.
Today I
My
didn't have
ear.
any at all. Yeah, my ear, it's just, I mean, I can talk, I can hear. I mean, I can feel it coming right down. Like a smack. Big market gap up, and now we're just moving sideways. Did I get you anything?
Thanks. I'm just answering phones.
Oh. It's chilly in here.
Really? Well, it is warmer in there because in that room because of the computers and everything.
Yeah.
I know that when I sit in there in the evenings, it is warmer in our bedrooms.
All right, back here. When you say small, what is small? Like 20% roughly of your swing size? Well, no, not necessarily. What I'm saying is, on a day like this, if you're gonna play, it depends on what your normal size would be. Let's say if you were gonna do like a normal $2,000 trade on a day like this, I'm not gonna do more than 500 or 1,000 on a intraday trade for a SPY super system trade. On a trending day, I could do the whole 2,000, but not 25% is pretty small of a swing trade. And in your swing trades, how much you put into a swing trade is going to be dependent again on the market, and and what the market's doing. It's really tough to take any swings right now because the market's so high. So it's much more nuanced than just saying, you know, a certain percentage of what you would normally take. So when the bars below turn red, that will be an institution that started selling, and there will be time to sell with them. Well, typically, yeah, when they down here, if they turn red, you're looking at the momentum indicator. And it doesn't necessarily mean they're selling it. It just means that if it goes from green to like yellow, it just means they're not buying it anymore. And then it goes back to red, then you can probably determine that they're selling it. But you know, we're just not getting a lot of movement here today. There's not a lot of institutional. There was a lot of buying this morning, and this is just a lot of. We're really just chopping right now. I mean, it's green. We're getting, obviously there's been buying pressure in there. You can see that across the board, and you can see that there was some selling pressure in the IWM early. So there was selling Russell 2000 and buying techs and S&Ps. But you typically, if you're having a bullish day, Caesar, just when the selling starts on the downside, you don't necessarily want to trade short. If the market's strong that day, you want to wait for the pullback and then it bounce back up again. In other words, you're much better trading long today on the SPY and the Qs because they're bullish. You don't really you can trade them short on a bullish day if you're very nimble and you've been doing this for a while. But typically I would recommend on a day when the market's green like this, look for a pullback and then a bounce. That's the way to trade them, because you're trading with the trend that you've got. Otherwise you're fading it, you're trading against the trend, which is much more difficult because you're likely to get another bounce.
Members on this COI and see a little volume pop on the name. Citi, mentioned earlier in the news desk, Citi and Coinbase have joined forces to explore stablecoin payments. They are out now with a release. Citi and Coinbase have joined forces to boost digital asset payment capabilities for global clients. That's on C and COIN.
Coin with a bounce here, teaming up with Citigroup. There's coin there. Nice little bouncing coin. Resistance at 386, 368.26. 368.26 is resistance. It's also a standard deviation line. Citigroup also coming down off the news. Again, I'm in HPE, just waiting to see if it does anything. That's it. Schwab looking very nice, trading right at 94.97. It's about 12:02, just after 12 o'clock on a Monday, on a big gap up in the market. SPY jumping here now again, new all-time high. Nice little pop there in SPY. Tesla's still trying to get by that 457.51 level. Just a comment about your question there, Cesar. When the bars turn red, that means the institutions have started selling. That will be the time to sell with them. And you don't necessarily want to wait that long, by the way. If you're in a long, you don't want to wait for it to turn around and turn red before you get out of the trade. You just watch your momentum and you watch your support levels. That's why getting in at a support level is really important. or because that way, if it breaks below there, like if I was getting in at the 8, I wouldn't exit unless it broke below the 15 because I use these in combination with each other. So any kind of a trade in here works well as long as the SPY pretty much stays above the 15 and the 8. And once it breaks below there, regardless of what this is, and you get out, you take your profits. You're losing momentum. You take your profits. They could bounce right back again, but you got to be prudent on a day like this because these are very this is not a great day to be staying in a trade for a long time. What'd you say?
You know, the library always has like events and
Yeah.
stuff. And they have, they have like things for adults,
Yeah.
things for teens and things. So, for the teens, it's Project Pet Runway.
Pet runway?
Yeah, dressing your pets up.
Oh,
having
jeez.
fun.
Alfie, that's not gonna be for you, buddy. Don't worry. Don't get nervous. Don't get nervous. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Good boy. Hey, Shy. Check out TEM, broken algo and bounced off the ADMA. Earnings next week, so there's some time. Okay, let me look. Tempest AI. Yeah, a little bit of a PBO on TEM right there. A little bit of a PBO. Again, right down to the 50-day here. Kind of a choppy stock. That did pull down. Yeah, again, this is really choppy. Look at see all the wicks and tails on the candlesticks. Very difficult to trade, but it is holding above the 8 and 15. So this is anybody who wants to go long, that's a decent level for this thing. Again, 11/4 next Tuesday, the earnings. I'm just not in a. I just don't feel like I want to get into a lot of swing trades right now with this market up so high. If I could find a good stock, yeah, I'd take it, but this is really pretty extended for the indexes. A lot of volatility because of the news. Gold down today about almost 3%. Bitcoin up pretty nicely today, about 4% on Bitcoin. Coin went right to resistance. Hey, Shy. How does the momentum on it right now on TEM? Pretty good. On the 5 minute, let's take a look at the daily. Yeah, it's a little, because of this choppiness and this pull down, we still got red here by the momentum on the daily chart. Again, it's trying to break out. It's probably going to go blue if on a bounce, but this is very, to me, it's too questionable to take it. Might intraday trade it. I mean, intraday trading it might be okay. But it does make moves up and pull back. It does put in a lot of wicks on its candles. But it's coming off of the VWAP here right through the 8 and 15. Not a bad spot if you could get it just a little bit of a pullback on it. When you mentioned it's probably a good place to take it. But again, I think I would just intraday trade it personally. That's just my opinion. Option's pretty expensive on it too, by the way. You know, for what you're paying for it. The $89 calls, which are in the money by about $3, are going for $5, 5 by 540 for this week. Nice move in it though. Again, I think I think I would intraday trade it. A little bit of a pullback to the 8, something like that, trade it off the 8, and just take profits as quick as you can today. I don't think I'd swing it. That, you know, again, that's just my opinion of this thing. I think swinging it's going to be tough. That's the plan, not swinging. I think it's smart. Hey Joe, what's a good price to pay for an option relative to the stock price? And there's no answer, no good answer for that, because you know it's implied volatility that jacks it up. Depends on how much the stock moves. You're going to have wide spreads on something like Tesla are going to be fairly expensive and wide because it moves a lot. On a stock that doesn't move much, like Verizon or AT&T, they're going to be very tight, so they're going to be fairly close with very tight spreads. So there really is no. It's much more based on the volatility and how much the stock price moves the ATR than it is the price of the stock. Some stocks that are expensive don't move a lot. Some stocks that are cheap move a lot. It just depends. And that TEM, by the way, Shai, watch 9187. 9187 is a support resistance level, high volume. Once you get through 9187, you got room to 9779. Here's a chart right here on it. 9187, 9779. Buy drift, just pulling back down to the VWAP. Am I right to the 8 right now? Q's doing the same thing. It's very, very slow day. Very slow day. Hey Matt, how do I find calendar spread trades? Are they only during earnings season? Yeah, the time spreads are only over earnings. The whole point of them is to capture implied volatility crush when the earnings come out. So yeah, it's only over earnings. I haven't looked today to see if there'll be anything for tomorrow. I'm going to take a look around lunchtime and see if there's anything to take a time spread on. Q's pulling back just a bit. Kind of moving up and pulling back, but it's this is very slow action. This is a bad day to be doing any straddles or strangles, by the way. There's just not enough movement in the stocks. There's too much compression. Hey, there may be one or two out there that you could do it on, but not generally speaking, there's just not enough movement in the market, in the stock to take advantage of any straddles or strangles. It's a bad day to be trading in general, Shai says. Yes, it is. It's LPTE, it's low probability trading environment. It's hard to find anything to trade and stay in for very long. You know, scalping trades is about all you can do right now. This TEM he mentioned is actually pretty decent for an intraday trade. But you got to pick it off like off the 8. You can't chase them. Jack says, don't take any marginal trades just because you're bored. Patience is a key here. It's one of the things we've listed as have patience. Boredom is one of the things that drives people to overtrade. Very, very dangerous. Very dangerous. You're sitting there, you feel like I should be trading. I'm a trader. I can't take this anymore. Don't do it. Wait for a good one. This TEM was actually pretty nice. Is HD going down again? Yeah, it got just above the VWAP and then it's starting to fall. It's a decent short, but it does have support on the daily chart right down at the 200-day moving average. It went almost right to it. Here it is. Here it is right here. Okay, it went down almost to the 200 right there. It almost went down to it. Now it's bounced, and now it's above this algo line, but it's starting to pull back down again in the 5-minute. Right here, just starting to pull down. You want to see it break below the 8 and the 15 and the VWAP right here. The VWAP before you would take it short. You want to take it short here. You want to wait till it breaks down. TEM still going. There's a nice call out on Shai on that one. Yeah, that 10 was a nice one. You took $1.50 on it, William. Very nice trade. Yep, very nice.
On ETHZ article on by Business Insider says the Beyond Meat meme investor's next target is a biotech firm that's pivoted to crypto. ETH.
William says, "Thank you, Shy." Check the only 95 cents. Yeah, well, that's close enough. $1.50. Yeah. Again, that was a good trade, TEM. If you took it at the right spot, in case it comes through the VWAP right here, and it goes green right here as it breaks above the VWAP. This is a good entry. Anywhere right in here is good. As it comes there, you notice the 8's moving up, getting to pop out of the box right there. Is a nice one. 91.22 to 92.95. That's a pretty nice run right there. Again, you just don't want to chase it. And you had to be careful with the options because there was some of them were widespread. You had to be tricky. You had to get very nimble as when you took what the price was. You know, there was a lot of nuances to trading that thing. I did trade it quickly, boom, boom, in and out, in for 520, out for 6. So I took 80 cents on it, but it was basically impossible to call it out. Other than what Shai had identified it, because you got to go in and look at the option change, find a good place to take it. Again, I just get in 520, out 6, but the spreads were pretty wide on those things. At 550 by 620 right now, 70 cents wide, and I was able to get filled at 6 when it was trading at about 530 by 6, and they filled me at 6, so. That was pretty good. Again, I'm not going to chase it.
Some OPEC headlines. OPEC Plus leading towards another modest oil output increase at Sunday meeting.
Again, I wouldn't be trading too much today. It's very tough. Nothing but scalp type trades here. Buy coming right back down again. Right to the 8, right to the 15, sitting right on the 15. Yeah, that's why I use these things in combination. Well, I'm almost coming up on 12:30 here. So I said you're welcome, William, for that TEM. He also said you ought to get together with Rum Kamara. He's waiting for his 2 bottles.
Coming from BGR.
Shy, never shy.
Next big thing might be AI music generation.
Tesla trying to get past 457. Yeah, Ram Kumar, that's funny. Yeah. 457.51, I can't get through it. Trying to. I mean, these horizontal levels, again, they don't always work. And you know, eventually they break through or so. But when you're in a trade and it comes up to 457, you're in it for today. I always take profits when it gets that close. Because it's likely going to at least hesitate there on these high volume lines, because it was the institutions that created those high volume lines, and so I think they're fairly effective. I don't know a lot of people that use them, honestly, with you, to be honest with you, but I do share them here with everybody, and I'm sure there are other people that do it, but I've just not come across it anywhere else. You know, I see Fibonacci's, I see MACD's, I see all kinds of things, but I don't see those. There's a SPY coming right down to the 8 and the 15 and trying to bounce off of it. But I think trading stocks are better today, to tell you the truth. Tesla not quite able to get through there. Again, I'm in and out of TEM already. HPE not doing anything for me. I'm going to wait for the news announcement this afternoon. Hold on to it overnight. Take a look at some earnings setups for tomorrow. Implied volatility differences are really minimal here. IDYA continues to look good, Harry. Thank you. IDYA. Again, you got to trade off. You can't trade options on this. I don't believe you got to trade stock. SPY right there, bouncing right off the 8 and 15. And again, I'm out of TEM. TEM was a nice quick trade.
member has posted in the news desk on PYPL. Google introducing an agentic commerce solution for merchants from PayPal and Google Cloud. PYPL sees volume.
12:36 here. I'm going to get lunch here pretty soon. Getting a little hungry. Not really a good day for trading the market. Tesla through. Shy, thank you. 457.51. Yep, skipped to 458.12. But just be very careful here. It's penetrated this thing before and pulled back. So again, if I look at this 457.51 on Tesla, again, it's through it right now. It went through it here, and then it went through it here and closed just above it, and then it fell apart after that. So again, I'm not going to chase it. I'm not going to chase it. I'd rather have it pull all the way back to a level that I could take a long again with room up to 457.51. So I'm not going to chase it. Doesn't mean you can't, but I'm not going to. Not very much implied volatility differences between this week and next week on any of the options on the stocks that have earnings tonight. There's not a lot. Sophie is one, but it's only got a difference of about 23 cents between this week and next week, which is very small. Maybe 20%, not even 20% of the implied volatility difference. Nothing here I see at all. I'm going to stop and get some lunch here. Waiting to see if I can get another setup or something. Again, I took Tesla this morning early, made $1 a contract, $100 a contract on that one. I took Hood for break even. Oops. And it's been chopping around. I took HPE as a speculation based on news. We'll see what that does. I just took $24 calls, very cheap, a speculation trade on that. And I traded TEM very quickly today for in and out, coming off of the VWAP in the 8 right here, and I'm out of that. That was a decent quick trade. But these are all quick trades. These are not even, you can't even stay in these things for 20 minutes. So it's hard for me to post or call them out. Basically, for anybody who's fairly new trading, this is not a day to be trading. I would just avoid trading altogether. It's an LPTE, low probability trading environment. See if we get any kind of setups, but right now nothing. The Schwab trade still looks good, by the way. This weekly ATM at Schwab looks nice. UAMY still falling apart. I have to all I can do on this one is wait to see if we get any kind of indication that the China and the U.S. All of a sudden have another falling out as they have off and on for the whole year. So I'm just going to wait and see on that one. Tesla pulled back down below the level again. Again, I'm very, very cautious on this 457.51. It's just been very, very sticky. All right, I'm going to get some lunch. I'll go ahead and close down YouTube. Thank you very much, YouTube folks, for being here today. I appreciate it. We'll be back here tomorrow, Tuesday, about 11:30. And again, you can go to rightlinetrading.com if you're interested in getting into the room or on the alert service or buying the software. The software is the main thing here that drives our trade. So very, very important. All right, so listen, have a great afternoon, everybody on YouTube, and we'll see you tomorrow. Hey, Eamon, thank you. Have a good afternoon.